Hilarious. That is at least what one part of the chapter was for me. That part was when Fami and fake Chainsaw Man got eaten. I mean, Fami is the famine devil, and even if fake, it's still a variant of Chainsaw Man. And bro just got eaten. Both of them got eaten alive and lost their freedom. Even if you think about stuff like hunger and well, Chainsaw Man, hunger is something that is a very effective tool for enslaving someone. And well, I mean, Chainsaw Man himself is somebody who effectively enslaves others by eating them, erasing their existence everywhere outside of his own belly. Fake Chainsaw Man, a variant of Chainsaw Man who eats Fami, Famine Devil, Falling, the chef who prepares food from people's suffering and death, whom none can escape and who devours everyone. Honestly, this chapter was full of everyone who just likes eating. Let's talk about Falling Devil first and get her out of the way. Falling Devil does show a bit of a strong reaction at the idea of something perverted happening, and she had called Denji out on his perverted words before as well, which I think probably take to mean she does not like those type of acts, which is probably a combination of factors. One, she behaves like a well-mannered chef. Two, those acts are what many people turn towards to when they want to turn their brains off, something which they want to do when they are in emotional downward spiral. That is why she has a relatively stronger reaction to that this stuff compared to other devils. At the same time, she prepared uncooked food for death. I imagine that devils don't really need to necessarily cook their food, considering how many instances we have seen of devils eating people. But at the same time, it's not fully surprising that Death didn't like the food. I mean, one of the ingredients, Chainsaw Man, is a fake, and one of the other ingredients, Fami, is not only her own sister, but also somebody whose name she had been using. Let's talk about Death. First of all, let's talk about her reveal, and I mean her name reveal. When she came down, she could not have taken the Control Devil's name. Nayuta was there. She could not have taken War Devil's name. That one had already descended. She could not take her own name. It would make it harder to move about without bringing in suspicion. But she could take Fami's name, considering that Fami had not descended. But why Fami and not any other devil? Well, considering that Nayuta instinctively recognized her as sister, I think it's safe to say that she did not expect to be able to hide her identity as a horseman from her sisters. Now that Fami has descended, she does go on to reveal her identity since she could not claim to be Fami anymore. But after this chapter, that card is back on the table. I mean, Fami is in her control, so she can totally just claim to be Fami. Coming back to the reveal at the end of previous chapter and at the beginning of this chapter, it seems like Death has tried to unalive herself. Alright, but that does feel a bit weird after reading this chapter because she herself says that if she dies, then the next Death Devil might not be so nice. So why did she try? Well, as a primal devil who has never died and who is the strongest of them all, maybe she was testing if she can be killed or hurt that way, or she was trying to imitate Fami, cause the way she ate at both Asa's place and at the Death by Sushi restaurant did help in sell the act of her being Fami, and maybe her appetite can be explained by her current situation, though it does bring into question this idea, was she gonna eat Denji, Yoru, and Justice after Justice had eaten them? Considering that she probably ate Justice if she had control over him, or Justice was too scared to disobey her and just went along with her. And when she could not eat him, she decided to make those two stronger in another way. In fact, I would say her plan probably does have something to do with war, considering that she has been trying to make Chainsaw Man War's weapon from the Eternity Devil arc, I mean the Infinite Museum arc, and her actions have made both Chainsaw Man and War stronger over time as well. Anyways, so on one hand, Fujimoto stays on his pattern of shaping the speech bubbles and fonts to denote people's emotions, with deaths being more consistent and Fami and Fexomans showcasing more panic. But, well, I guess the final point is that the way she explained her dilemma, it reminded me of Gun Devil. His fear grew so strong that bro manifested and went on a rampage. At least on some level, the way she described her trouble on the day of prophecy, it totally feels like that. Finally, I would like to say that the way this discussion happened in this chapter, it felt like everybody was essentially hopelessly just talking about how death is inevitable. Even death herself was basically talking about how she is inevitable, even more inevitable than a Thanos snap.